Nick with Cruise and Family here. This review is of Cape Liberty Cruise Port in Bayonne, New Jersey. All right, welcome in. Today we're going to be giving you a full breakdown of Cape Liberty Cruise Port right there in Bayonne, New Jersey, just outside of New York City. If you're sailing on Royal Caribbean or Celebrity Cruise lines, chances are this is where your journey starts. We'll be covering parking, directions, public transit, terminal tips, and everything you need to know before embarkation day. Let's dive in. So Cape Liberty is located at 4 Port Terminal Boulevard, Bayonne, New Jersey, 07002, just across the Hudson River from Lower Manhattan. It's about 30 to 45 minutes from Midtown New York City, depending on traffic. And depending on traffic, it can take less time than even that 30 minutes. We came from downtown Manhattan and were able to be to the cruise terminal in under 30 minutes. So, and it could be more than 45 minutes. It could be an hour and a half, 2 hours. So definitely conditional based on the day that you're going. A fun fact is it's one of the closest U.S. cruise terminals to Manhattan and offers stunning views of the Statue of Liberty as you sail away, where we were able to catch the view of the Statue of Liberty heading down to the cruise terminal from our hotel room. All right. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about parking. So parking here can be easy and it's on site. You'll find a multiple level parking garage right next to the terminal with an adjacent open air lot for larger vehicles. Rates are around $30 a day and there's no reservation needed. And not every location has those oversized lots. So if you do have like a trailer that you've cross country with and now are going to go on a cruise, do expect to pay more. It's more like $60 a day for an oversized vehicle. The garage height limit is 7 feet 4 inches, which is pretty low. So do make sure that your vehicle can fit with that. If you have like a lifted truck, it might be too tall for you to be able to park inside the garage. They do accept cash and credit on site, so most of us will pay with credit, but if you are a person that likes to pay with cash, it is a possibility as well. So getting to the cruise port terminal, there are a number of ways to do that. If you're driving, you're going to take exit 14A off the New Jersey Turnpike, then follow Route 440 south to Port Terminal Boulevard. It's clearly marked and easy to follow. It really was kind of a straight shot. We weren't driving, but we did have an Uber driver, and that the driver knew how to get there. But if we needed to, we could have done it with minimal struggle, I believe. If you're not into the car thing, you want to take public transit. You could take the Hudson Bergen light rail to 34th Street Station, then grab a short Uber or taxi to the port. So you're still going to need some type of vehicle, but you could still end up on that rail. And if you're coming from New York City, you can also use the New Jersey buses, either 119 or 99S to reach south or to reach Bayonne, but you'll still need a ride for the last 2 miles. So you'll still end up using that Uber possibility, or if you're so inclined, I guess you could walk. I wouldn't suggest that if you were going to have luggage with you, just because it's not like it's not a pedestrian location, so the side of the road isn't necessarily set up for large amounts of foot traffic. All right, so now you've made it to the terminal, and you've waited in that line, or you've gotten there at your reservation time, and now you're inside. The terminal opens in late morning on Embarkation Day. We were talking with locals who use the terminal quite often, and they said that the doors usually open between 9:20 and 9:30. On the morning that we went, they opened at 10:02, and if you watch our embarkation video, you can see that kind of our entire trek from downtown Manhattan all the way onto the cruise ship itself. And I do timestamps just to give you kind of like a heads up. If you're so inclined, you can go and watch that video as well. But you can find organized luggage drop-off zones kind of towards the south of the building. There's accessible pathways, so if you're in a wheelchair or a scooter, you're going to be able to have easier access. And the porters there do a great job. They really are working hard to make sure that things flow smoothly. If it wasn't for the porters and the cruise terminal workers, it would be a lot more congested, and things wouldn't flow as well. So, but some things to remember once you get to that cruise terminal: make sure you have your boarding documents and ID, so your birth certificate and driver's license or your passport, and then also make sure that you follow the cruise line's suggested arrival window to help with the crowd congestion. They're doing it for no other reason. They're doing it for no other reason than to make sure that not too many people are getting to the port all at once. So it makes it easier for cars to come in and out, for Ubers to come in and out, or buses or the like. I mentioned accessibility before. We sometimes cruise with my wife's mom or my dad, and accessibility is sometimes an issue. So I like to talk about it just to make sure that we hit on it. At Cape of Liberty, it is wheelchair accessible, and assistance can be arranged through your cruise line ahead of time. While there aren't many shops or restaurants inside, there's like vending machines. The focus here is smooth boarding, and it works. So they have an elevator set up rather than using the escalators going up to the second level. Once you've checked in, the curbs are marked out so that you can get onto the curb, and there are people there that are assisting those who have accessibility situations. So just look for somebody; they'll help and find you as well. All right. The next time you probably would go to the cruise terminal after you've made your embarkation is disembarkation, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the disembarkation. On disembarkation day, you'll exit through the same terminal. They basically have a hallway that takes you one way. And they're using the same escalators that you went up. You're going to come down, but then you're going to go down a hallway. And they have a second room, basically where all of the luggage is found, and also where like customs are set up. And then it kind of spits you out close to the same location that when you came onto the cruise, onto your cruise. So that's kind of that process inside. Be sure to arrange ground transportation ahead of time. Things like taxis or rideshares can get busy during those peak hours. And I'll give you our personal experience. They told us that we were going to arrive in port late. So we already knew that we were getting there late. We planned to stay on as long as possible because we had our trip home. Our airplane wasn't leaving until the evening time. And we knew that other people needed to get off. So we waited quite a long time on board. Once our baggage number, which was 73, which was coincidentally the highest number that you can have from Royal Caribbean, they called that, and we waited like 4 or 5 minutes, and then we got up and we went into the line. We followed the process, and disembarking takes a long time, especially for large ships. So no big deal there. But once we got outside, Cheryl went onto her Uber or her Lyft app and tried to get a car. We went over and found a spot that was less congested. It wasn't less congested, but it was by the bathroom, which was strategic for us because we have three young children that are going to need that. So we went over there. There were, I'm going to say, thousands of people on the sidewalk waiting waiting for their own rides. And we waited for her lift to populate for about 20 minutes, and then I went onto my phone and called an Uber, and we had another 10-minute wait, but finally got a ride through that. Cheryl immediately canceled. But the process, once we got out of the cruise terminal to getting into an Uber, took about an hour and 15 minutes, which is atypical. It's not a typical experience. So if you're familiar with the cruise terminal, because of our late arrival, there was extra congestion because more and more people needed to get onto their travel plans. So don't expect that as the norm, but it could happen. And I would suggest to you, if you're in that situation where you're like, hey, I have a 12:30 flight from Newark, I would suggest setting up your transportation from there to the airport. It's going to cost a little bit more money, but it's going to give you peace of mind in the long run. Because when you're in that situation and you're like, man, I need to get to my flight, things start to get real, right? So there's spending a little extra money in that situation, I would say, for this port is definitely a must. If we ever cruise out of Newark again, Bayonne, New Jersey again, we definitely will, and we would definitely will make an appointment with a rideshare company of some sort. And also on that note, I would say a big tip is, if you are trying to get out, you can always take your own luggage off. It will put you ahead of other people. Because this is a channel about cruising with family, we really struggle trying to make that happen. But if it is a time crunch, that is a way to get it with shorter lines and not have to have as much congestion. And that's my kind of review of Cape Liberty Cruise Port. Whether you're driving in, taking public transit, or flying into the New York City area, now you're ready to maybe tackle that embarkation day like a pro. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your cruise questions in the comments down below. And be safe out there, and I will see you around. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.